And here we are live, Deneen TB and Andrea Johnson. Want to make sure that we get here on time and give people the opportunity while they are, hopefully, some of my guests are still at work, but some are on vacation. I know that for me, when I was working, I'd always take the whole time that my son had off of school. So I'm Andrea Johnson, the Intentional Optimist. You are potentially watching this either in my Facebook group or on LinkedIn or on my Facebook page. I want to welcome you today. It is Wednesday morning, December 29th, and I have with me my friend and fellow coach, Deneen TB. Welcome so much.
Hello. I'm so happy to be here. I was so excited about this. That this lull week is like the perfect week to kind of like capture people and get on things that we normally don't do. So I really appreciate you letting me come on this week.
Oh, absolutely. And for those of you who are not subscribed to my podcast, now's the perfect time to do so because we're about to start a whole new year. But this week's podcast was a fabulous interview conversation with Deneen. And one of the things that we talked about was really understanding who you are created to be. And if you need a little bit of encouragement to just be that person that you were created to be, then this is the episode you need to listen to. I went ahead and posted it a bunch of places today as well to make sure that people see it. And when I have women on as unconventional leaders on my podcast, I always get their story, and then I like to turn around and have them share what they do best in this type of format. So what I wanted to do was have Deneen, have you come in today, and we're both coaches, right?
Yes.
And we both work primarily with women. Are you exclusive with women?
I am. I always say I've had a few good men in the past, but I'm pretty much exclusively women now.
So we work primarily with women, and I'm not sure that I'm exclusive with women. I'd have a lot of men who listen to my podcast, so I'm not entirely sure exactly what my audience will look like in 2022. But we do similar things in that we coach. We are life coaches, and you do more business coaching. So the differences between us are we're both women of faith, but I focus more on life coaching for entrepreneurs, and you kind of focus more on spiritual and business coaching for Christian female entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Did I say that right?
Yes, you did say it correctly. I consider myself a Christian business growth strategist and a clarity coach. And it all comes into that. What is God asking us to do to serve him by serving our clients, by having an actual business? And I think that connecting faith and business is really important for women who feel the pull to work, feel the pull to have a business, or have the necessity of having a business, because God doesn't want us to run ragged so we can figure out how to serve him.
Yeah.
But what I love about what we both do, Andrea, is the fact that we're both a different type of coach. And I was listening a little bit to the podcast yesterday, being reminded that what we were chatting about, the fact that we're both very directive. We're not the coach that's going to, like you said, pull things out of you that's going to take you 10 years to get there. We want you to get there faster.
Yeah.
We want you to, whatever it is that's on your heart, whatever it is that you feel like you should be doing next, that both you and I are going to help that person to get to their next level, to their next thing. And that I love the fact that God's never done with us, and that we should always be looking for that next thing that we're walking into, because it's very exciting no matter where we are in life.
Well, and I think we called it prescriptive coaching, I think. And, it's really easy for people to think that the only way you can coach is this one way. And that's just not the way we can coach. We're both teachers in our own rights. And so you're an author. I would hope to be an author. So there's so many similarities. But the other thing that I think is a little bit different is you specifically work, you said it a minute ago, with clarity. You help people find clarity. And I specifically help people find optimism and hope. And so I think that those are, of course, they work well together, but it's really nice to have people who to show and to explain how we all have our own unique calling. We all have our own unique strengths and abilities. And when we share from that, I love the way you put it, it's we share from our overflow, right?
Right.
So today, as we are, what is it, the 29th of December, we're getting ready. I'm a planner. I have my new planner. It's getting filled in, and it has my vision and my goals at the beginning of it for the next year. But one of the things, and you have a workshop this afternoon at 2 p.m. So we will try and post that in the comments as well if anybody wants to join there. You're going to share with us and you're going to walk through what you call your clarity worksheet. And I love the way
Yeah.
you said it was a Venn diagram. I love those things.
Yes. So if anyone doesn't know what a Venn diagram is when you take 2, 3, 5 circles and you overlap them. So this Venn diagram is going to have 3 circles in it. And so if I think we have the connection as well, the where they can pick up the worksheet if they're not sure, if they don't want to keep writing down all this vigorously, taking notes or whatever. But
I put the link at the bottom of the screen, and I'm going to put it also in the comments.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. So this is a great way for you to really start the clarity kind of journey, because it does take a little bit of time. I will be totally honest. It took me a long time. And finally, when I put all those pieces together, it created the business that I have now, the way that I coach now, the people that are attracted to me now. I call it my mosaic masterpiece model. And it's taking those pieces of your life, and we really investigate, besides the experience and expertise that you've had, maybe you have a degree or something like that, but it also takes into consideration your values, your strengths, the talents that are natural to you, and even your spiritual gifts. So we have all of these things wrapped up, and of course, all in the personality that God has designed for you, because we're all unconventional leaders in some way, right? Because
Yes.
we all have different personalities. And we know from, even if you study strength finders, that there is no one person who has ever existed that has the exact same combination in the percentages. So if strength finders can tell us that, then the uniqueness of us that God tells us about is just so much more heightened. I can't even imagine. So to get started here, we are going to look at just 3 parts of your life. So the first question is, what am I good at doing? That's your very first question. That's your very first circle of your Venn diagram, is to start to kind of write through all the things that you're good at doing. Now, I want to have a little caveat here, because people think that because they're good at something, they think that everyone is good at it as well. And that's not true. Some of us are very good at doing things like organizing, or we're very good at writing, or we're very good at math, or we're very good at cleaning. I mean, we have all these things. So don't start to, when you're making your list inside your circle, however you may be doing that, one personality will make a straight list, the other personality will put the words all over the circle. Don't
I'm the straight list girl.
Yeah, I'm all over girl. So you're an S and I'm an N. I know that. So this is the thing. We need to not say anything negative, just write what comes to mind. What do you feel like you're good at? So those are the things that I would put in there. Like, I would put organizing. I'm good at that. I would put teaching, because I have a teaching degree, and I love curriculum development. I think that's kind of really nerdy, but it works for what I help people do in creating programs. I love creativity. I love writing. I love synthesizing and pulling things together. So whatever it is, don't filter yourself. Just write out all of those things. Okay, that's the first question. What am I good at doing? The next one is, what do I enjoy doing? Now, just because you're good at something doesn't mean that you actually super enjoy it. But there may be some things that you're good at that you do enjoy. I mean, I know I have a client who's like all over the place, and she doesn't understand why she is an accountant. It's not something that she really sees as, she's just something she's good at, but just not something she actually immensely enjoys. She has so many other interests outside of that. So again, it could be something that overlaps right away, and it could be something that you just totally enjoy doing. What happens when you're answering these questions for clarity is you start to layer all the different things that you can bring into your business, all those tiny pieces of the mosaic. So things that I enjoy doing, I enjoy learning. I am an avid learner. So as an entrepreneur, I think we all need to be some type of level of learner, but
Mhm.
it's something I actually enjoy. I enjoy reading. I enjoy watching movies. I enjoy napping. I enjoy and I also enjoy teaching. So for me, those are right away the overlap of the two in the Venn diagram is I really enjoy teaching. And I think that's reflective of why I am a directive type of coach. It's something I'm good at. It's something I enjoy. And so I bring that into my business as a different type of coach, as an unconventional coach. Again, write down everything that you enjoy. If you enjoy needlework, if you enjoy swimming, if you enjoy walking in nature, write those things down, because the smallest thing that you think is not important becomes truly important. I remember another client who was creating something, and she was trying to decide what the branding should look like. And she was talking one day about how her program was going to rescue people, and what she really loves with her family is water sports. They love kayaking and they love all of these things, and it just became this whole thing of SOS and how she was going to throw the life preserver out, and it became all these water things. And it was something so like obscure in her life, she thought, as related to business, but it became the imagery. And the next time she went on a kayaking trip, she took all kinds of photographs that were going to be used in her branding. So we can't just dismiss something because we think, oh, it's nothing. It's not going to be worth doing. It's not going to be part of my business, because God's going to use every part, because that's going to really attract a different type of person than someone else who might say that their branding is based on, baking and cookies, which I have
Mhm.
a client that does that as well. She's a website designer, and her website design company is called Sweet Bites, BYTES, and it's
Smart.
all around, helping women with technology. So it can be all used. So something you
So
enjoy could be brought into your business. And what does that do? It gives you the clarity to say, oh, this is something that really energizes me. This is something
yeah.
that I can get out of bed and really sink my teeth into, so to speak, or whatever, because it's something that you totally enjoy. Okay. So
Well,
we have two
so
questions.
let's go back really quick. So the first one, and I've actually put these in the comments in Facebook, in the Facebook posts, because I want them to see what they are. But just so y'all know, the ticker that's going across the bottom of the screen is where you can get the actual worksheet, and I've put that in the comments as well. But really quick, I've done this practice for many years, and I want to just jump in here and tell people that you can do this as, and you can correct me if I'm wrong because it's your practice, but you can do this to find out your main overall what you want to do for a business, and you can do this each year as you narrow things down, as you set your goals. This is a good practice for you all the time, right? This is not just a one and done.
Oh, definitely not a one and done
And
at
I
all.
love the comments you made about the branding, because if you're talking to business women, and what I'm doing moving into 2022, I'm focusing a lot more strongly on helping um, women entrepreneurs grow personally to be who they need to be for their business to grow, right?
Mhm.
Because I'm not a business coach. But for me to be able to say my own branding is sailboats, and it's from the beach and all that kind of stuff, I literally have people say, I don't get it. I'm like, it's okay, because you're not my client. And
Right.
but it's helped me narrow down who my clients are, in talking, but I needed a coach to help me kind of talk through it. But being able to say, I come from this world of professionals, of medicine and business, and people with all these advanced degrees, and people with a little, not that I have it, but people with a little extra income who get the whole launching from the beach, who understand what it's like to vacation at the beach or to spend time on a boat. And it's okay for those people to be my clients. And
Mhm.
when I start talking about hoisting the sail and stuff like that, people actually get that and they actually see that imagery, and it becomes a whole lot more of who I am. And I get clarity on who I am, or clarity not just on me, but on who my clients are as well. And I think that's really important. And I loved that you threw out there, you love to take naps and you love, and I mean, I have a friend who loves to read, and she says, how can I make a business out of loving to read? And but your point here is that it may not be that that's your business, but it may be that that's your branding. And so those are some really good points that I think we can miss if we just let them fly, because you give us a lot of information at once, so just wanted to slow it
Oh,
down there.
I'm glad. I'm glad that you slowed me down because sometimes I need to be slowed down. I get really excited about this. And I think when I'm looking at like just the words that I told you right now, I mean, creativity has to be a part of what I do in my business. Like I said, I love that curriculum development, but that napping part, I really help women to also create their ebb and flow, their rhythms and their routines of how they want to have their lifestyle be within their business, that they're not letting their business run away with them as well. And especially as Christian business women, that we're not allowing all of the
Hmm.
extra things that we think we should do to
Hmm.
always be interfering with the things that we're really called to do. And how can we have that rhythm? And napping is very important to me, rest is very important to me. So how can I do that as well? So
Yeah.
it comes into the things that I talk about, whether it's on a live stream like this or on the podcast or even on my own YouTube channel. I talk about those topics because it's really important that we don't stretch ourselves out so thin. I always liken my grow from your overflow to a three-tiered fountain. And we are the top of that three-tiered fountain. And we know how a fountain works. The small cup, us, we have to fill up first, and we have to fill up on those good things in our life, whatever they may be. And of course, for me, it's the vertical relationship with God. And then we overflow to the other parts of our life. And I think as Christian women or women in general, we tend to turn that thing upside down,
Yeah.
and we try to be all there is to everybody in volunteering and community. And then we give to our families, our businesses, helping our families, and then we put ourselves last. But a
Hmm.
fountain doesn't work correctly that way. There's no
No.
water. It's dehydration, spiritually, emotionally, physically. It is you have to fill up first before you can overflow in a good way in your life.
Well, and I've shared a comment on the screen here from one of our listeners and one of our participants. She says, sometimes less is more. Care for yourself to help your business flourish. And I think that that's really, really important to remember.
That is so important. Okay.
Okay. So now what's number 3?
Okay, so we've got what am I good at doing? What do I enjoy doing? Then the third one is how do I want to serve the world? Or we can flip this a little bit and say, what breaks my heart? What is
Mm.
something that, how do I want to serve the world? But sometimes we have to think in the negative way. What is breaking my heart? So for me, I came into working with Christian business women, and I started to listen to them because I was selling a product that Christian women would want. So I created a networking group as a marketing strategy so I could get in front of them. And I remember thinking, what did I want? What was I hearing? And so what I heard overall in women in general is that they needed a way to do things. They needed to create habits. They needed routines. They needed to not feel guilty anymore. They needed all these things. So really everything that I've ever done when I'm thinking about how I want to serve the world is how can I make it better for that person. So I
Mm.
remember when I was teaching, I was like, I want to teach teachers how to teach better. When I'm listening to women who are overwhelmed with all kinds of things, how can I help them have a better routine, better habits? And then of course I saw that they were wanting a bigger or deeper relationship with God. And my heart broke of how could I get them to be closer to God. So those are the ways that I started to see how I wanted to serve the world, even back 10 years ago or more, when I first got started in all of this, my life statement was that I wanted to help equip other believers to share their faith in bold and creative ways in their family, their friends, and in their marketplace. So that's how I want to serve the world. So think about, how do I want to serve the world? And you can think about different times in your life. You can list different things, but what is that pull on your heart right now? And I know there's a lot of issues out there that you might think, well, I should be against this, or I should be looking at this, or at my church they're focused on this. And don't think about those extraneous things. Think about, what is it that God has put on your heart for you to serve the world, because he's equipped you to serve in that way as well. And we have to always remember that. That's part of the clarity, is, how has God equipped me to serve the world? So don't think you have to jump on some bandwagon that somebody else is already doing, or some platform.
Well, and that's part of what we talked about on the podcast, was to be who you are, right? To be who you have been created specifically to be, to reach the people you've been specifically created to reach. I just finished reading Kathy Kong's book, Raise Your Voice. And I thought it was going to be a whole lot of, this is how you carry a sign, and this is how you speak out, and all this stuff. And she actually walks through the story of Esther. I don't know if you've read it or not, but she walks through the biblical story of Queen Esther, who had to learn to embody who she was, who God created her to be, and in such a time as this. We quote that a lot, right? But part of the encouragement I walked out of that book with, as I just finished, it was my 12th book for the year. It was number 12. But part of what I walked away with was a very encouraged heart to just be me, to just be who I'm created to be. And it's not just okay, it's good for my personality to show. It's good for my convictions to show. And it's good for me to say, well, I know that this person cares about these social issues, and this person cares about these spiritual issues. For me, I see that I want to help women who really don't want to work for anybody else, and they've got all this baggage because they have all these professional degrees, and all these things that the society tells them. You keep using the word should, and it's like, no more should, right? What you should do is what you're supposed to do, and making it acceptable and understandable, and to be able to take these 3 questions and kind of boil down, what is it clear that I am made to do? What is it clear that I am created to do? And I have all this experience, and first things, what am I good at? I had to learn that just because I'm good at things doesn't mean I really want to do them.
Exactly. And that's true. A lot of times, especially as business women,
we've learned things throughout our careers.
Good at a lot of stuff, and just because you're good at it doesn't mean that you have to do it. And I think that's why it's important to continue to layer this, and not just say, well, I'm going to do this for my business because I'm good at it. Like my friend said, I'm good at accounting. It's not necessarily what I like. So she's picking up a new business, transferring her business, because she's realized that God's got something more for her, more impact to make.
Well, and do you have a tool? Because I do this with women as well, is I help them kind of crosswalk their skills. Because it's very easy for us to see in our careers or in our past and our experiences how our skills work specifically for that industry. Like specifically for me, the example was research administration, which is highly specialized and highly sought after. And, to know all the federal regulations on how to put in grants and how to manage them. But I really just didn't like it. And I said for years as I was doing it, I really don't like this. But it was a decent paycheck, and I was in a position where I could actually help a lot of people. And being in medical research, every time I put a grant in, or every time I helped manage a grant or helped a physician or a PhD put something through, I knew that someone on the other end was going to benefit from that, either through a clinical trial or through extra, through new discoveries. And that was how I got around that for myself. But when I left my job, I thought, well, I'll just do that for a while to kind of tide myself over, or have, just guaranteed income, because people want this. And I realized that physical reactions to it. I said, no, I can't do this. And So I think it's important to help people understand how, like, all those skills, it feels like I don't use them, but I use the project management skills. I use the understanding of federal language. I use the understanding of, uh, I don't know, communication and, oh my goodness, translating skills, all kinds of things. Do you have something that helps people crosswalk those skills, or how do you work with women that way?
Well, that is exactly what we do in Calling Clarity. That's
Okay.
exactly what we're doing, because what we're doing is we're looking at all of these different pieces. And just like you just said, you have been equipped and you see it in the next thing that you do. So you learn those things. It might not have been the ideal situation, but now that you're walking into the next thing that God has for you, you're drawing on those skills, those abilities, those things that you learned along the way. And they can be life skills, they can be tragedies that we've gone through. You know, when I talk about the mosaic masterpiece model, the mosaic is that if you've ever looked at a piece, one piece in a mosaic, it's called a tessera, and it can look jagged, it can look ugly, but when you
Mm-hmm.
place it all into the mosaic and you step back, you just see the beautiful new thing that it creates. And so God can use all of those pieces, whether they're good things that we learned or they're tragedies that we've gone through that we can help others go through. God is always, shining us up. I say he kind of puts all those pieces in a tumbler and he kind of like rotates them around and shines them
Yeah.
up and gets off the rough edges so that we're prepared to do the next thing that we're doing. But that's exactly what you just walked through, is exactly what I help women do. Instead of feeling overwhelmed and confused about what is the next thing, the next step, it's just really to get clarity on being able to focus and have direction. Because let's face it, we are already so busy. Let's simplify the
Right.
business that we're creating. Let's simplify it so that the right clients come to us. We can serve God. We can attract our ideal clients when we understand who we are, who we've been designed to be, and then go forward from there. Um, I do love exactly what you're saying. And like I said, this worksheet is very small. At the end of this worksheet, there are 3 statements, and the 3 statements are for you to fill in. And if one of them is, one talent I have is, and this is probably something that you see in yourself that you love doing. You see that you're good at it. It's kind of helping you to put together some things. And something that the second statement is something I loved as a kid. As a kid, I loved too. And I will bet you that something you loved as a kid, you will see reflected in how you bring that into your business. I put
Okay.
down that I loved being the boss. I was the oldest girl in the family. So I was the oldest. So I was the boss. I love being a boss. Just like I don't want to be in someone else, under someone else anymore. And then the last part of the statement to fill in is I know a lot about. And I put things like I know a lot about Spanish. I know a lot about the Bible. I've learned a lot about the business, those kinds of things. And you really, how can all of these come together? But sometimes, like I said, we need someone else to help us see that, because we're so in it that sometimes we need somebody to look at what
Step
we
it
have.
back.
So in our
Yeah.
Calling Clarity, we have what we call the 360-degree view tool. And all the things you learn, we actually put it on one page in a diagram, and you're able to have a snapshot of what your business could look like, what it could really, and how it could really be different, even if you're in an industry where it is flooded, like we are in coaching,
Mm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But we're so very distinctive. We're so very different. Even though we have some similarities, we are helping people do things at a different level. And wherever they're at and whatever attracts them because of how we are, those are the people that were ordained from the foundation of the world to work with us. And we have to believe that.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So if you would pop into the private chat and give me, you have a workshop this afternoon, and then you're calling clarity, or whatever, however you want people to reach you, and I will post those. Unless you can just see them in the comments, you could post them in the comments yourself if you like. Either way, we will make sure that people have those. I am signed up for that workshop this afternoon.
Okay, that's the calling one that I just gave you, deneentb.com
Okay.
slash calling. So that's this afternoon at 2 p.m. and it will be live. And so if you're in there, it'll be live. It's not a recording, I promise.
But there will be a recording sent out to those who register?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I'm just as a busy woman, I gotta tell you, when people don't send out a recording, half the time I cannot be there live.
Exactly.
Um, so 2 p.m. Eastern, and it's there calling. How would you like to wrap this up today? What is the main thing that you want our listeners to take away?
I want them to know that no matter what, God is never finished with you.
Hmm.
It doesn't matter your age. I have people say, I'm going to not retire, I'm going to refire. And it's
Oh,
not
I
that
like that.
we all need to be at that age either. But if God is really wanting you, feeling that I want to make an impact, and you can't see how to do that, you need clarity. You need to understand that you are equipped and you can let go of some things. I always say, let's take some things off of your plate. Let's stop all the plates from spinning and let's figure out how you can
That's the
best
hard
have the impact. Because what it is that if we keep spreading ourselves out and having a splash here and a splash there in this huge lake, and we don't pull it all together and pull it down, we won't make the impact that we're meant to make, that we can make as business women to
part.
those who we are called to serve. So let's have a bigger impact instead of, I don't know, I call it $100ing yourself to death instead
Yeah.
of trying all the little things that are making us really overwhelmed. Let's do the one thing that's the next thing that God has for you.
Fabulous. That is, I feel like, it's like we're on the same page. And this year, that's exactly as in we walk into 2022, that's exactly what I'm doing. And I find every year with my business, I take just a little bit off, right? It's like I narrow it down just a little bit more. But here's the nice thing, as we move along, we've created a lot of stuff, right? We've learned a lot of things. The lessons that we've learned have built up and given us the foundation that we need to do something new and something different. So thank you so much for your time today, Deneen. I've posted everything that you guys, our listeners, might need in the comments here on Facebook, and it's on the ticker. I will go into LinkedIn. This is the first time live streaming to LinkedIn. I will go to LinkedIn and add some of these comments in myself. Until next time, please keep remembering that you are the role models for future generations. You are unique and unconventional leaders, each and every one of you. And please join each of us in our respective places. And we look forward to finding out all the amazing things that you're going to do in 2022. Thank you, Deneen. Have a fabulous day.
Thank you.